observed Mrs. Coffey's classroom through the eyes of an administrator. I watched for learning differences, multicultural awareness, gender sensitivity, and ethnic appreciation. It was obvious that the students understood how rotations worked and the expectations that were set up for them during this time. They know the basic steps of what each rotation needs to look like to be successful. Mrs. Coffey's strength showed when students rotated between stations and started their work. During small group instruction, Mrs. Coffey was able to see the strengths and compliment the students on their strengths. When a student was struggling, she could immediately address the students and help them with one-on-one support. However, a challenge I noticed was when the students would rotate to the computer rotation. Students struggled to get the program up and running. Thus, Mrs. Coffey had to leave her rotations to help support the students on the computer. This left her students at her group asking what was next and becoming somewhat off task. I would recommend a computer step-by-step list so that the students could first try to access the program on their own. Also, have a to-do list for the students at her rotation so that if ever the teacher had to leave, the students could refer to that list on what to do next. Maybe also having a basket of books so that when the students are finished with the step-by-step, or they are unsure of what they need to do, they can pull the books and read until the teacher is able to return. I was able to observe that there are learning differences in Mrs. Coffey's classroom through small group instruction. You could see the gender sensitivity between boys and girls. The classroom has a very positive, calm, and caring environment so that the students felt wanted and successful. Mrs. Coffey set up the students to be successful through group reading with support, think, pair, share, and listening to check. Mrs. Coffey gave positive feedback to the students as she monitored them. She was assessing them during the closed reading by monitoring their conversations. She will assess their portfolios once they are completed, and she will collect data from the computer program portion of the Read 180 program. In conclusion, Mrs. Coffey's lesson met the needs of all students. It is obvious she wants all her students to be successful. There were 2 areas that I would address to help maximize instruction time. As an administrator, I look forward to observing best practices that take place in all classrooms.